Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching for. Thank you once again and welcome to our shows today, the eye-opening tips that we have. Today is a special day. Today, we are actually going to be interviewing one of Toronto Nigerian finest. And this young man has been in Toronto for many, many years. And as a matter of fact, he's been in the force, as you know, if you can, understand what that means. He's like one of the OPP police officers in Toronto, disciplined, intelligent, very, very powerful young man who have decided to take his discipline and his endeavor to go to Edo State in order to be able to bring the narratives and change the conversation in that state. Now, today, we are bringing in the governorship hopeful under the platform of the Labour Party, LP, Mr. Bassey Ogbemudia Osagie. He's declared his candidacy and his intention, and he said that it's going to be a privilege to serve Edo people. We want to welcome our brother, our friend, a disciplined commander in the police force in Toronto, who is now running for governorship election in Edo State. Welcome. Welcome, Ogbemudia Bassey.
Thanks for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
What a pleasure to have you here. And I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them who you are, what your experiences are as a police officer with a discipline that you have had, and how many years you have been in this, so people can understand your background and where you are coming from. So when you're talking with authority. Please, explain introduce yourself to the audience around the world.
Hello, my name is Bassey Osagie, Ogbemudia, and I was born in Uhi, in Uhonde local government area of Edo State. I went to primary and secondary school at home in Uhi. Then I traveled to Canada, where I attended the York University, and I had a degree in business administration. As God will have it, in 1998, I became a court officer with the Toronto Police Service, in charge of the judges and the court services in Toronto. In 2000, I became a police officer. And from there, to do the training, I went to different training program, went through the ranks, was a police constable, became a detective constable. I got promoted in 2012 to sergeant. Following that, I did my detective service at 12th Division. Then I moved on. Since then, I've worked in various places. During my time working in the homicide squad, I also worked street violence task force. I work in a major crime unit. I work street violence task force also. And currently, I'm the supervisory officer in charge of 32 Division community policing neighborhood program. And right, that's my in terms of profession. On the other hand, I'm also a proud owner and CEO of a reputable security company in Nigeria. And currently, we have over 350 guards across Nigeria, in Abuja, Lagos, and Benin. That is in terms of my promotion. So that's my professional career. And recently, I think I'll wait for further questions.
Yes, let us start from that aspect of, the security company that you have in Nigeria. What motivated you actually to start this security company in Nigeria? Is it in light of the insecurity in Nigeria that people were facing? Was that the motivation behind it? Because now you're employing almost 350 to 400 people in Nigeria. Can you tell us what was your major motivation to start that security company, even as being an officer here in Toronto?
Well, one of the motivations as why I started the security company was people, especially people in Toronto, just my glasses on, people in Toronto mostly asking me, when are you going to start giving back to people in Nigeria? When are you going to use your training and your knowledge to help your people back home? And I felt as a policeman, one of the best way I can do that is to have a company that can empower youth and are providing employment to some of our people, and whatever I've learned to impart it on the security company and provide services the way we have in Toronto. One of my vision when I opened that company was that I didn't just want a security company. I want a security company that reflects my training, my value, and the way we do business back in Toronto. That's why I wanted to. That's why I brought to Nigeria. Obviously, there's some environmental limitations. It can't be exact, but my goal is to live up to that expectation.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now you have, launched your hopefulness in becoming the governor of Edo State. Now, in the past 7 years, as we see, the current governor, Godwin Obaseki, was one of the financial advisors to Oshiomhole. But so far, when he was coming in, he actually was talking about all the big plans that he had with Edo people. Right as we speak right now, in the past 7 years in Edo State, the local government administration has been in chaos. And we understand, it's being alleged that 80% of the money that is being, given to him to help the local government administration is being siphoned away, and only about 20% is being given. And most of them are not being paid. If you are elected under the LP as governor of Edo people, what would you do to change that narrative, that conversation, with the discipline that you have received as a police officer?
Well, the issue of government allocation did not start with Bassey. I'm not excusing him. That is the pattern across the country, and that is why we are where we are today. In Toronto, where you and I live, is the city that feeds the road within the city. Is the city that feeds the bridges, and should be that which is local government, the current local government. The local government should be empowered to do their job. Everything, when I become governor, God willing, I will make sure that any allocation that's given to the dedicated to the local government will be given to them 100%. The governors, sometimes they are worried that they might abuse it, but what you have to do is to make sure that you check and ensure them there's accountability on the part of the local government chairman, so that they can deliver on whatever they promise to do and provide services. It should be the local government that fix the healthcare, road, and provide local security. But here in Nigeria, it doesn't happen that way because the governor take everything away from them. But that have to change. That's part of the new way, the new business, the new approach that I want to bring. Because we cannot continue like this. We can't continue where the local government chairman or the local government councillor, they're like beggars, begging the governor for crumbs. They should be empowered. They are executive in their local government. And I would make sure they receive all their money. But at the same time, I will make them accountable to the people and make sure that the people get the dividends of what democracy is supposed to be all about.
Under the Labour Party, in their recent election that just took place, for the very first time, the people in Nigeria felt like, politics they've become part and parcel of the whole entire political system in Nigeria. And that's why we saw a number of people came out, to be getting excited about voting, and until what happened, last time happened. Let me tell you something. Right now, Governor Obaseki and the deputy, they have been fighting. And there's been media war between both of them. Would you consider that this particular type of, conversation going, between the first man in Edo and the second man in Edo, is it going to help you, or is it going to bring the type of conversation that Labour Party has brought, where people are tired of the status quo and want to change in order to elect you? Do you believe that this is an advantage for you?
Well, George, I'm in Nigeria. The network was shaky a little bit. Can you just summarize your question, please?
I am just asking you about the Governor Obaseki and his deputy. They have been fighting. So now do you consider that as an advantage with somebody like you who is coming into Nigeria to vie for the gubernatorial candidacy or to be the governor of Edo State with your discipline? Would you consider the war with each other to be an advantage for your candidacy as a Labour Party candidate?
Okay, I got you. I got you. You mean the quarrel between the deputy and the governor?
That's right.
Okay, well, the only thing I can tell you about that, George, is that I read a book. It said, do not die in their war. Do not die in their war. These guys are funny, and I won't even waste my time trying to talk about the infighting. Sometimes what you say are infighting has strategy on how to manipulate the people. So I won't dwell on that. Okay. But Labour Party is strong in Edo State, so we don't need any infighting between them to be strong. Labour Party is the party to beat in Edo State. All we need as Labour Party is to bring out a strong candidate like me, a strong candidate with experience in a good track record in public service, a good track record in accountability, transparency, and being able to solve complex problems as a police officer in Canada. Complex problem and used to and have been involved in community engagement. You and I know that. And that we need to have to build bridges between the people. And that is what the Edo State need right now. And Labour Party are in a position to take it over. And also, my training have put me in a unique position to drive positive change in Edo State, to foster economic prosperity, and to also champion the aspiration of Edo people. Because Edo people must come first. And my priority will be to make sure that we do everything to make sure we give Edo people, Edo youth, and Edo children the same opportunity that we had our children have in Canada. That is the same opportunity I want to give to Edo people if given the opportunity to be the governor.
Now, we understand also that, from everything we have seen so far in Edo State, the educational system has been destroyed practically. And children are suffering, and even the youths are suffering when it comes to education. What would be your plan with your experience here in Canada, how things work? What would be your plan to revamp the educational system in Edo State to make sure that every child will have the opportunity to go to school all the way to university?
But the first thing we must do is that we have to make sure elementary, primary school, and secondary school, high school is free. That will create a balance and equality in education. Right now, what you have in a place like Edo State is the rich and the poor. The rich people send their children to private schools, and the poor people send their children to a public school. But the public school has been diminished. Public school, there's no accountability. They are not learning much. And why the rich also do that? But that's not just the only thing I would do as a governor of Edo State. We need to train our youth in vocational studies, in skill acquisition training. Because a place like Canada, people have to learn plumbing, electrician, being an electrician, painting, even driving the truck are very good profession back in Canada. And that is what drives the economy. That's what creates a middle class. We need that in Nigeria. We need our youth to go to school, not just to go to school. They need to study something, a profession or skills that is relevant in today's job markets. That is the way we're going to create our economy. Even if you if I bring manufacturing industries, manufacturing companies here, the people must be able to work there. If they don't have the skills, they don't have the training, then the unemployment rate is going to keep going up. In Edo State, we have about 40% unemployment rate. That's unacceptable. But with good education, then we will be able to kind of reduce that a little bit. We also have to look at the health, mental health, drug issues. In Edo State, same with other cities in Nigeria, a lot of people have problems.
Okay, so now, how do you answer to this objection?
Yes.
How do you answer to this objection? I know that PDP in Edo State right now, you have the legacy PDP and you have a new PDP. One is being, one is being led by the governor himself. Let me ask you a question. The objection that a lot of people are, have been saying is that, Labour Party does not have any structure. But we have seen what they have done in this past election. How do you answer those people that are saying that the Labour Party does not have a structure?
Well, remember, the obedient movement, as far as concerned, started in a place like Benin. The Labour Party structure in Benin, I don't know about other states. Remember, Edo State, we have produced a senator from, we did not have a governorship election in the last one. So if we had one, Labour Party would have won the governorship position. Look at the House of Rep, Edo, the Labour Party won Edo State. So Labour Party, irrespective of what's going on in PDP, I'll go back to that again. Do not die in their war. Labour Party is strong in Edo State. Labour Party will be able to win any election in Edo State. The structure, I've visited places. I have even me now ready for the governorship election, George. We have 18 local government in Edo State. I already have each local government have one of my coordinator in each local government already, and we are building our structure, and we're also already building to have at least, because every local government have about 10 wards, 10, 12 wards. So in each ward, we're also building to have one representative of Osagie 2024 campaign. So the structure are there. It's just people that they want to talk about structure, maybe in other states. In Edo State, Labour Party do have a very, very strong structure. And 90% of Edo population are obedient.
Wow. So now another question that I want to pose to you, which is another objection that a lot of people are saying. They're saying, okay, well, you have not lived in Nigeria for many, many years. How do you think that your acceptance level will be so high, if you have not lived in Nigeria and understand the system, the way things work? What will be your answer to those people that are saying that?
Well, I'll tell those people that I was born and raised in Edo State. I'm a New Benin boy. And since 1998, I've visited, I've come to Benin every year, Edo State every year. And this, since about 5 years now, since I started my security company, I do come to Nigeria at least 2-3 times a year. And I'm very strong here. And what you have to realize is that those are just distractions to say you don't belong here or you don't live here. Even the politicians that are running for office, the question you should ask those people that are agitating for that, the question you should ask them is, when was the last time the politician who lived in Abuja, when was the last time he was in his village? Every time I come to Nigeria, I go to my village. And I have a company here. So being a police officer in Toronto, having a security company here, give me that unique advantage to understand the challenges, especially the security challenges that we face. I employ over 300 people, and you can imagine that I do talk to those people. I do walk around about, and I understand the problem. I'm not just talking because I live in Canada, but I'm talking because I live in both countries, and I was born here. So what I'm going to do, George, is that we are going to bring Canada to Edo State. That's an advantage. You know why? Because people here, the politicians have proven that they cannot get the job done. So we got to turn the corner, and we have to now we have to find new ways, new approach, a new beginning to make sure Edo people come first.
So now, when you talk about Edo people coming first, there are so many comments actually coming in. A lot of people supporting you, a lot of people saying that we need a candidate like you in Nigeria, that Edo State needs somebody like you. That is really good. But my question also is, when it comes to the women, young ladies, we have seen what you call brain drain in Nigeria. Many of them are leaving and going to Europe. what would you do for the young people, especially the young ladies that went to school, did not have a job, and then they have to go to Europe somewhere to do some kind of menial job? What would be your major infrastructural changes that you will bring into Edo State to let those ladies stay, and the young men also that have graduated from university with no job? What would be your plan in that area?
Well, that's a good question, George, because a lot of people are leaving because there's no job, there's no education, and the place is not safe. So first thing I would do to keep our young people here, first of all, is to keep the state safe. I am going to form a security dragnet around Edo State to ensure that our people are safe. That's the first thing. Because if you are not safe, you cannot go about your business. The other thing we're going to do is ensure that our people, like I said earlier, have the right training, the right education. If you have the right training, right education, and you have a job, you will not be thinking about going abroad if you are comfortable, if you are not afraid. So we need to bring in foreign investors. Edo State have the largest diaspora community abroad outside of Edo State. So we need to get that done. We need to make sure that they come back home to invest in Edo State and make sure that way, once they invest here, people get job. Once they get job, the government have money. Then the government will be able to provide good hospital, good schools, infrastructure, and protect our people that have to go to farm and produce food. Because right now what we have is food insecurity. We don't have enough food. People are hungry because people stop going to farm because they're afraid of henchmen killing them, raping them in the farm. People are afraid to go to the farm. So what I have to do as a governor is my priority is to keep my people safe. My priority to protect my people. My priority is to ensure that my people drive on a safe road. Not only safety on the road, safety that they are not going to be kidnapped on their way to the farm or their way to the market. So those are the things we are going to provide. By the time people start to have faith in their government, they have to have faith in their leadership, the kind of accountable and responsible and transparent leadership that I'm going to provide, less of our young men and women are going to have less incentives to travel abroad. Remember what I said. I am going to bring Canada to Edo State, so there'll be no need for them to travel abroad. In terms of the women, we don't see most people talk about that because if we can provide gender equality, make sure that the women have the same advantage, have the same dream, and we can provide enabling environment where women can strive just like men, equal pay with everything, equal training, and there's no discriminatory policy that discriminates men from women, then the women will have the same dream just like men. But to be honest, Nigeria, they do have problem with that in terms of maybe the way the men pay. But a lot of women here, as I go around, a lot of women are in good positions here. A lot of women have good job. There's more to be done. There's a lot of things we need to do. But by the time we treat everybody equal, whether you're a man or woman, the opportunities will be the same.
Now, let's talk about the political structure in Nigeria. You know, we talk about democracy, we talk about government for the people, by the people, with the people, but democracy has not been very functionally effective in Nigeria. We have seen even the last presidential election, what being alleged that happened in the electoral system. How would you want to fight that corrupt system that is so systemically embedded in our political environment? You know, even in your vying to be the governor right now, it is also very possible that what has been the status quo will always be what has, you know, they're trying to institute the same corrupt system. How would you fight that? Because if people are coming out to vote for you, and then that system is the system that has been corrupt continues, what would you do to ensure that all the votes of those that love you and want you to be the governor of Edo State will be protected, and at the end of the day, that you will, you know, climb to that position as the first man in Edo State?
Well, the first, a good question, George. The first thing is we have to hold the government accountable. We have to expose them. You were part of during the Bassey second term. I'm sure you were part of working with us that time.
That's right.
What did we do? We ensured that the community, we exposed them to the international community to make sure that we put their feet to fire so that they know that everybody's watching them. That's one aspect. The other aspect is that we have to mobilize our people to make sure that every polling booth, every police station where people vote, we have enough of our people to protect their votes. I know sometimes once it goes inside the INEC office, that's where the manipulation starts. But we are more aware now. We have a better system now. The people, I know during the presidential election, it's kind of failed us. The system did not fail. It was the people that manipulated it. So as we move along, we have to expose them so that people that are involved in electoral malpractices get punished. Once we start to punish those people that are abusing the law, then we can have a better electoral process. But for now, for our election in Edo State for governor, but Edo State is unique. We usually know how to protect our votes compared to other states. So our people are very aware, our people are progressive, our people are very Edo people. So we know how to fight for what we want. And so long we mobilize our people, so long we talk to our people, we will not have problem with the stealing of vote. Because if you look at the presidential election, we won it for Labour massively. Look at 4 years ago for Osagie. Edo people voted for him massively. Edo people do not vote for parties. They vote for candidates. And I believe as I go around the place, the more people know me, the more they know about me, the more they know about my track record, the more they want to work with me. Nobody since I've been here, nobody have ever asked me, "Oh, you don't live here, you don't live in you live in Canada." Nobody talk about that anymore. Not in Edo State, because Edo State know what they want. Edo people know what they want. They don't care where you come from or who you are. If you have the qualities, if you can present your case to them, they will support you. And so far, they have been supporting me. And I believe we'll be able to overcome that electoral malpractice that usually happen in other parts of the country. I'm not sure it doesn't happen here, but we know how to fight.
Beautiful. So another question that I have for you is this: the diasporans, because one of the things that I see, many people that jump out from Nigeria is simply because of insecurity, food insecurity, the economic woes in Nigeria. Now, somebody like you from Edo State and has been abroad and just internationally dealing with the two states, the two countries, what is it that you would do to touch the diasporians who are also will influence the local people to vote for you? What will be your strategy to touch those people, to expose yourself and your plans and your what you desire for Edo people? How would you reach those people?
Well, that's how I started my campaign. Remember I said Edo State have the largest diaspora. So that's why before I came to Nigeria, some people were saying, "Why don't you go home?" I said, "Well, can you
So
hear
right
me?"
now, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I know I'm getting a lot of static in my network here. Hopefully I can keep going. Yeah. So what is this that I have spoken to a lot of people in the diaspora? I have consulted with them, I have asked them questions. How will you want? What do you want us to do? And the common thing they tell me is they don't trust the government. They don't have faith in them. They don't because of security. But they told me if you go there, you can win election. We'll come and invest. We'll come and support you because they know me, and I'm here to represent them. Not just them, I'm also here to represent Edo people. But once they know somebody like me is there, somebody that is credible, somebody that they can trust, they will come to invest in Edo State. Once we come to invest in Edo State will be prosperous. We have Isao did it from Edo State.
Mm-hmm.
All he had to do to open one of his pharmaceutical company here. We have Edo people that are breweries in Toronto. We have everything that we need in our state that in diaspora. So they are on board with me. I'm talking to them every day. I have my diaspora director who's constantly talking to everyone in New York, in Houston, in Chicago. And all those people are ready to come ahead and support. My job is to come to Edo State, serve our people, protect them, secure them. And the diaspora, they are ready to come home and support me so that we can rescue our people and renew their hope.
Now, when it comes to the force, police officers in Nigeria, your experiences here in Canada, the way you've been trained, discipline, transparency, and everything that you have said, how would you restructure the policing in Nigeria in regards to the influence of the federal government over policing? What would you do locally in Edo State to make sure that all the ills that the police officers are facing will change under your administration?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do, George, is to make sure that I create those security services. Once I create that security services, I will ensure that they go to the same training, they go to the same processes like every other person do. George, I don't know if you can take a commercial break. I'm getting a lot of study on this
Okay,
thing. Like I
so
told you,
we're
I'm
about
in
to
Nigeria.
we're about to
Let me
finish
do one or two
actually.
things. Just give me 1 minute to unplug something here. I'm getting a lot
Okay,
of static
okay,
noise.
okay.
Give me 1 minute break.
So if you, there are so many comments coming in from Zudo African Label. You say we are ready to go home and support 24/7 if Bassey becomes the governor of Edo State. He is not the one to rescue police commission in Nigeria. She said, we understand that, but his input can actually help to change the federal government in the way they treat police officers. And then also, Osa said, I can vouch that as he has spoken, so shall he do when he comes into office of governor of Edo State by God's grace. So there are so many comments coming in. So we welcome you back again. I want you to do something for me right now because we're about to end. What will be your final message to the people in the diaspora, the local people in Edo State in regards to the hope that you are giving them? Because I could see from what I'm seeing so far that you have become the hope for the hopeless, and you have become the voice for the voiceless when it comes to Edo State and the political system there. What would be your last message to them? Because I know we're going to do this again, because as the election is only next year, so there are so many things to do between now and then. But for the moment, what would be your final message to the people of Edo State, both in diaspora and in Edo State?
Well, George, before I get to that final statement, there's a question I don't answer, which I believe is very important.
Okay.
In terms of security in the police, yes, the state government will tell you they don't control the police. What I'm going to do when I become the governor of Edo State, God willing, is to create Edo State Security Services. I will bring my 24 years experience to bear on that unit. I will ensure that they have the same training, the same equipment, and the same services that we provide to our citizens in Toronto. I would have an agreement with the Inspector General of Police. I will make sure that any officer that is sent to Benin, Edo State, Aunchi, in any of our villages, I will ensure that any officer posted to Edo State is trained on sensitivity training by me and by officers retired or present from Canada or anywhere in the world to make sure that our people get the best service. Our youth will no longer be harassed by police because how they dress or how they look. Our youth, we have a free chance. Unless they are up to something bad, they will not be treated bad. But my final statement is this: if the people of Toronto have trusted me, have entrusted me with so much responsibility to serve and protect them, and I have lived my life down like that, so the people of Edo State will not have a problem in entrusting me with to be the governor of Edo State. And when what I tell people, go to my history, look at my record. I've lived a life of ethical values. I've lived a life of transparency. I've lived a life of accountability. I've lived a life of public service. And that is why I've come home to serve my people, not only to serve them, to make them prosperous. My vision is very clear: progress, prosperity, and unity. We need to be united. We cannot let these politicians play divide and conquer with us. We are going to work together, whether you're Edo South, Edo North, Edo Central, Eastern, Afema. We are going to work together to ensure that we have a prosperous Edo State. And I believe I am the right person to do the job because of my experience to attract foreign investors, to attract people that will have faith in me based on my credibility, my competence, my capacity, and my character. That is what I want people to judge me by. And any other candidate out there, I want people to judge them by the same standard.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Officer Bassey. We are so happy to have you here with us, and the conversation continues. And I'm quite sure that as time goes on, we'll be able to coordinate one more time, for you to reach out the diasporans. We want to thank you for being with us, and thank you, viewers from around the world that are watching us. Stay tuned, and we'll be coming back again with some more interview with this great young man. We appreciate you. Thank you so very much. My name is George Chukwu, aka BlueTooth George, and thank you for watching this program.